Alright everyone, it's time for an extra video actually because Fox News dropping a report that Rutland, Vermont is the 7th least safe city to be in for the holidays. This is based on various crime data. So I wanted to give a little bit of a sub-analysis here. I live in Rutland. I'm very familiar with Burlington that also made the list. That was ranked number 6. And so I'm going to give my opinion with regards to this. It appears that this study is focusing not just on violent crime data, but property crime data. There is a lot of property crime in Rutland. You're probably not going to get shot in Rutland. The violent crime rate has risen over the last years, especially with Bidenomics causing rampant poverty, and so there are problems with gangs as well now because of gun running and drug running through Vermont. You've got to understand the geographic location of Rutland. We are right at the grand crux between New York City to the south, Boston roughly to the east, the seacoast region, Albany, Troy area to the west, and then Montreal over the Canadian border to the north. We're right at this crossroads. A lot of drugs come through Rutland. There's a lot of fentanyl. It used to be mainly methamphetamine was the problem. Fentanyl has displaced it. A lot of overdoses and stuff. Has been some crazy shit. I can assure you, though, that Rutland is not on the same order as St. Louis or Baltimore or any of these other cities that are being listed. Rutland is barely a city at all. Most people coming through it, if you're from like New York, you don't think of Rutland as a city. You think of it as a small town. Burlington is a city, but it's on the smaller side. Burlington I can see adding to the list. I question whether, again, this has much to do with violent crime data, although the violent crime rate there has skyrocketed. Burlington, by the way, about 15 years ago, was reckoned to be one of the best cities in the United States. Of all the actual cities, so, this is actually a population center, it consistently made the top 10 list of nicest cities. Those days are far gone, unfortunately, now. Rutland used to be a very nice place. Back when I was a kid, you go out at night, you're not going to have any problems. There were a couple of small areas in the city known to be dicey. Over on the west side, in what we call the Gut. We call our city Vegas, and that particular part is called the Gut. The Gut over past like the Walmart Plaza, south of the Rich Peoplesville, which is the northwestern side of the city. There you get the McMansions and the golf courses and stuff. Was always a little bit dicey. But it was like, small town slum dicey. It's not the same as the ghetto. It's not the same as the hood. And that was it. We have more problems now, but I think this is mostly about property crime. If anything, the reason that you would not want to be in Rutland during the holidays is because of the enormous increase in traffic and poorly maintained roads. Traffic accidents as well are there's one junction, one of the main highway junctions up in Burlington, actually. I believe the one right before the airport is one of the least safe places in the country to be driving, especially in inclement conditions. That's the other problem. This time of year, you get ice, you get snow, you can even have outright blizzards. One time around the Christmas holiday, I was flying down to Florida, actually, for Christmas break. I was at UVM. And the roads were impassable. I had to walk, the bus service was down, so I had to walk to the fucking, because I didn't have a car or anything, I had to walk to the airport from the UVM campus. It was difficult because even on the main road, the sidewalks weren't shoveled. The snow came up to my midriff in most places, and I had to climb over hills of snow that they'd hastily shoveled over to the side into the goddamn sidewalk, because there's no way I'm going to step into the road on that road. You're going to want to stay to the side. You get crushed otherwise. You'd die. There were the hills of snow that had to have been 15 feet tall. So weather would be a problem. There is more violent crime in Vermont. But no, it's not on the same order. I've lived on the southern border, like 5 minutes from Mexico. I've lived in big cities. I've lived in Amsterdam for a while, for example. No, Rutland is generally safe. It does not belong on this list. You're basically looking at property crime. That's a function of poverty, exacerbated by drugs, of course. In Burlington, yes, I would say that having been there more recently and remembering what it was like when I was at UVM in 2007, 2008, thereabouts, I would go out in the middle of the night and putter around. I'd get insomnia, and I'd go out at midnight and walk all over the place just to try to, get some sleep when I got back. No problems. Nobody getting shot or anything like that. The only drugs were on the UVM campus. Lots of weed and psychs and shit. Some coke maybe once in a while. I never used it. I never actually saw it either. But that was like what it was like. Burlington definitely has gone vastly downhill, and I would not consider it a safe city anymore. Rutland, if you get shot in Rutland, there's a good chance that it was a hunting accident, so you're probably not in the city at the time, or it's gang-related. And by the way, when you see the reports about the crimes in Vermont, like Vermont man kills neighbor, very, very often these are transplants from New York. Very, very often, these are not native-born Vermonters. That is a rarity. Vermonters tend to be peaceable people. We speak our mind frequently, and we can get hot under the collar, but we don't haul off and kill people over, $10 worth of crack or something like that. Those are out-of-staters and flatlanders and shit like that. Those are people from New York City and Boston and sometimes from other countries, but those aren't... when you look at the mugshots, chances are that's not a Vermonter that you're seeing. So just to refine upon the Fox News report here, Rutland is not overall a particularly unsafe city. It's worse than it was. It's getting worse as we speak due to Bidenomics. Again, the property crime is being fed by poverty and drugs. But you're probably going to survive your trip to Rutland. So, come on over. The Yellow Deli is closed for renovation at the moment, unfortunately. So go to Hand Carved by Ernie's or Roots or something like that. Although apparently with Bidenomics, again, you're probably going to spend $50 on your fucking beet salad and burger. But yeah, it's tasty. We got lots of good restaurants. Go to the Co-op, by the way, and tell them Stick sent you. They can set you up with some real good shit. Wholesale herbs and everything else. So there's a lot to do in Rutland. It is festive, although we're having a green Christmas, but you'll survive your trip to Rutland, most likely. Burlington, yeah, fly in there and then leave as quickly as possible. Again, good restaurants, but definitely not worth the hipster markup up there. That's about all. Peace out.